Check. Oh. Hey, sports fans! Coach Nick here, and welcome to the B-Ball Breakdown live post-game show coming at you after the Minnesota versus Dallas game one. A scintillating game, crazy stuff happening back and forth. We have a lot to talk about. Can't wait to get into it. And first of all, first half, Kyrie. I mean, ridiculous how good that guy is. I think Luka was also fantastic. We saw some really good stuff from Cat. We saw some interesting things from Anthony Edwards back and forth. Jaden McDaniels game as well. The guy is proving, at least through 3 games, that he is an offensive player. Who knew? Well, to get this going, let's bring in Andrew Combo Salop, our normal correspondent who deals with us and is my partner in crime. Andrew Combo, what's going on, my man?
Anything we do is far from normal, Coach Nick.
Far from normal, absolutely. And I can hear you today. I got my speakers and my actual monitor working. So as I wait my new soundboard, which completely broke by this morning.
Okay, no water around the equipment.
No water. And it really wasn't near it. It was just sort of there. And I went to pick it up, and then it just kind of traveled across the room a little bit. So anyway, what did you think of the game? So what are your first initial impressions?
I think Cat is just as talented as any big man in the league, even though he's not the best big man in the league. That guy could like literally do everything, and he's the best shooting big in the league at the same time. Like that guy, he's different, man. He's different.
Yeah. The only thing I would say is he's got to get rid of that driving on the left side of the floor, driving baseline, going off the left foot and trying to shoot it right-handed, like drifting off the baseline. He's missed a few of those recently. Don't like that shot. They're not going to give you a call.
You think that's a lack of the left hand, basically, just not?
I just think it's not lack of left hand. I think it's just lack of creativity. They got just work on something different, come up with something else. And you know what I mean. So that's it. But yeah, you're right. The guy is a tough cover all the way around and can just nail it from anywhere inside half court. Yeah. So
but I mean, you were texting me. We were talking about. I thought Minnesota was the better team, and you thought Dallas was the better team because of what Luka and Kyrie could do at the end. And Kyrie obviously had a great first half, but man, Luka just finished things off in the fourth quarter with 15 points.
What exactly did I say, Combo? Without having to give myself more props than I already want to give myself. But what did I say? Do you remember what I texted you?
Well, do you want me to share your text messages to the public or no?
Yeah, you could text what I wrote to you. That one, not everyone, but the one we're talking about.
With Luka and Kyrie, they're going to be very tough to beat in the last 3 minutes.
Right, and then the one before that was something like they better win going away. Isn't that what I said? Something like that.
No, you said something about Josh Green that I can't repeat. No,
don't do that. Well, God damn it, Josh Green. You can't ruin an assist like that when Luka throws a pass, the two-handed chest pass, bounce pass.
That was crazy, that pass. That
was
ridiculous. Yeah, I guess. So basically, I texted Coach Nick that the pass was crazy, and Coach Nick wasn't happy with Josh Green, is the PG version.
Yeah, but maybe I didn't include. I thought maybe I did. Maybe I texted the Chip, and Chip can confirm. I had said that Minnesota better put these guys down and have them, going away, because when it's close and tight like that, and you have Kyrie and Luka, they're going to control the game in a way that they're just going to be able to eke those out no matter what. And I don't feel like Minnesota has the same kind of ability to do that. So it played out exactly the way I thought. By the way, it's a coin flip, right? I could have been wrong, or I could have been right, but it just feels that way to me, knowing the experience I guess I have watching the game for so long. But we have our other guest to bring in on the show, Chip Clark. Oh, first, you know what? I hit the wrong button. I hit the super chat button. So don't forget, if you want your question answered on our show, the best way to do that is to do it super chat on the YouTube side, and we will put your name up on the screen. We will give you lots of love, like we will do for Cliffside. Thank you so much, Cliffside, for the generous super chat. We really appreciate it. Why didn't Dallas call timeout to advance the ball at the end? They didn't have any timeouts, I believe, right? Weren't they out of timeouts at that point?
I believe so.
Yeah. So that was why. But then the weird thing was, and I went back and listened to it again before the end of the game, Josh Green fouls when they're up by 4. I don't understand. Did they think that they were up by 3? Because there's no need to foul. You can let it. Heck, they could hit the 3. There'd be a couple seconds left. The game would be over. So Really, really confusing to me on that end, because then it gave him a chance to like maybe make it interesting. So when you're up by 4, don't foul. And I actually thought I heard somebody like on the Dallas bench yelling foul. Somebody was yelling foul out there. I don't think it would have been anybody in the Minnesota arena who's a fan. So they got to clean that up in a hurry, because that ain't right. That's wrong tactics.
Agreed.
All right, let's put that one on. Let's bring Chip in. Chip.
Hey, fellas, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm good. Yeah, you called it, man. You said if they don't bury them, they're going to lose.
Right. So I guess I texted you that, and then I finished the thought with Combo a few minutes later, because who knows who I'm talking to and who. But yeah, I mean, that's sort of the key for me, and that was one of my big notes, was just like, yeah, these guys, the drop coverage they're playing with Rudy, they're going to have to do something different, because like I invented a defense where you play behind called the chase defense, and it kind of invites basically what Luka was doing to them, right? He was getting the guy on his back, and I love to see that defensively. That usually makes people crazy. Not Luka. This guy would destroy this defense. You could not play it against him. There's probably a handful of people you couldn't. So what are they going to do? Combo, you have any feelings for like how they're supposed to defend this if they're not going to drop Rudy so far?
I think Rudy at times is going to be unplayable throughout the course of the series.
Wow.
But the thing, because I think, there was times when he was playing with the Jazz where he was unplayable, but they just wouldn't take him out. And I think Coach Finch will take him out eventually. And there'll be times where he just can't play.
Would you be surprised? Well, do you want to take a guess what his plus minus was for the game?
No idea.
Chip?
What was his plus?
Oh, man. I don't know, but I don't think I wouldn't say he's unplayable. I think that there's
no at times I would say not
yeah totally. Maybe at times for sure, but they had to bring him back in the fourth quarter.
Once Lively got that tip dunk, right? Or was it a lob? It was one of them.
Yeah, and he brought him right back in. But what was weird was they had Nas and they had Cat, and the Cat just came in. It was like, well, who was he going to go in for? I guess he went in for Nas Reed. I remember thinking who he was going to go in for, and then maybe it was a timeout, and I totally forgot. I have to check that. But maybe I'll take the play-by-play in a minute. But he was a plus 10, which goes to show you that the plus minus is a very noisy stat. It doesn't always give you the accurate picture, because I would say at best he was neutral. I think he was neutral because he was hurting them defensively for a while. Although they did show the replay of one of those where he blasted Luka, didn't drop. They got a turnover and went a run out. So they're going to have to. That's the answer, by the way. Is they're going to have to kind of blast him a lot more. Rudy certainly has experience doing that. I guess maybe they don't want to like tire him out, but like it was a little bit brutal watching them allow Luka to be the master of those possessions and not giving different looks and stuff. So, you don't need to win a game by any more than 1 point, right? This isn't like, the win is a win here, and Dallas is playing to win the game by 1 point or more. That's all they're trying to do here, especially on the road. So they needed to adjust. They didn't adjust. I know Stan had a problem. What was he saying at the end? Did I write it down? Well, first of all, they had Kyle Anderson inbounding the ball, which allowed Luka to just shadow everybody else, not caring that they would inbound it right back to him. That's probably a mistake. Even though Kyle Anderson's a good passer, you need to have a threat there, or else his passing is nullified because you can't make the pass because Luka's taking away everything. All right, let's get Chip. You have any calls we want to talk about to break into it first?
Yeah, let's go ahead and talk about a couple of them. So there's one, the challenge that Minnesota used. Okay, so the one that they lost and they couldn't challenge again. That's going to be a controversial call, and I completely understand why Minnesota fans may feel that way, because in that situation, you've got a hand on the back. It's placed on the back, and as Hardaway Jr. starts to jump up, if you keep any kind of pressure on the back, it's while they jump, it's going to cause them to move forward a little bit. Now, maybe not as much as he moved forward, but it's going to affect his ability to jump up and compete for the rebound. That's why Mark Davis called that foul in the first place. And I just don't see how you could overturn it.
Okay. God darn auto plays. Sorry about that.
Did you hear me on that?
Yeah, I heard you. Yeah, sorry. Yes,
right.
Absolutely, you're right. And it sucks because it doesn't look like a lot, but it's kind of like an old vet trick. You kind of put yourself there, and I showed this on Twitter, and people have railed against me when I'm trying to explain. Like, there's a lot of force you can impart on somebody by just having it sort of a stiff arm there without even having to extend it while they begin to jump.
Yep, and it's literally, and this is what we look for as officials. It's we look for it a lot on rebounding action, whether it be for field goal attempts or free throws during box outs and stuff like that. Is if the outside opponent puts an arm bar or keeps an arm bar in the back of the inside opponent as they jump, it's going to cause them to go forward and affect their ability to compete for that rebound in some instances. And it doesn't mean that they pushed them. It just means that the term that Mark Davis used is something we use in officiating all the time, especially when I'm breaking down game film and stuff like that. He used the term subtle but effective. It's very subtle. You keep that hand on the back or that arm bar on the back as somebody's jumping up for the rebound. It causes them to accelerate forward, affects their ability to compete for the rebound. And listen, I get it. Like I said and started off with, if I was a Minnesota fan, I would be very upset because it doesn't look like much. I'd probably be more upset with the fact that they called it in the first place. But it's one of those situations where technically it's the right call, but I get it, man. I get it. It's a tough one for Minnesota fans to swallow.
Yeah. Combo feelings
on which part of it?
Any part. You probably have done that. What Conley did, right, to rebounders trying to get the rebound.
Yeah, I never rebounded much.
Okay.
Or played defense.
Played defense.
Played defense. Yeah. Hey, the other one real quick before you get to Super Chat, we can knock this one out real quick. The cat put back dunk.
Yeah.
So in that situation, you text me immediately as I was texting you. They called it so they can review it. It was in the last 2 minutes. It's close enough to where they're going to go ahead and they're going to call it if there's doubt. Yeah. Because they have that safety net of the review. They can immediately trigger that, them go to the table. And this season, the NBA put in place technology called the Hawkeye technology that before Mark even gets over there, they've already used that technology in the replay center to determine without a shadow of a doubt that ball was in the cylinder when Cat touched it. So it makes the review process really easy. That's why it was so quick. But they're able to use that Hawkeye technology to be able to determine without a doubt that the ball was in the cylinder when he touched it.
And that's the same technology they use in tennis when you see the ball and the animated ball and hits the line or not hit the line. Yep. So, yeah. Now, you didn't think it did what I thought it did, Chip, looking down from the down angle. To me, it felt like the ball floated and actually probably cleared the cylinder, but then it had so much spin, it kind of floated back into the cylinder on the way back down when he hit it. You don't think that happened?
I mean, listen, I suppose it's possible, but I also have, I do stats for the Magic, and a lot of times I work our replay system. So I get to review a ton of film every single game, like when I'm sitting there at the table. And I've seen so many I've seen enough plays to know that camera angle that sits on top, sometimes it makes it look like the ball is moving outward when it's actually just moving straight down. So I never thought that it actually went outside the cylinder. It could have. All I know is that he touched it while it was still in the cylinder, and so therefore it has to be offensive basket interference.
I wanted him to get that one.
I did too. It was a momentum dunk. It was one of those that those putback dunks, man. The Timberwolves have some guys that can make those plays, and they're super exciting. Yeah. I would have loved to see it count, but I'm glad they got it right.
Derek Jones Jr. can do it as well. So that they have some guys who can do it in PJ Washington and Dick Gafford.
Oh man, they had some tonight too. Yeah.
Yeah. In fact, that was part of what I thought tonight was there are a lot of the moments in this game where you have to bring supreme athletic ability to this game if you want to be able to compete. I know that like Luka isn't like the most supreme athlete, but everybody else, man, you're going anywhere near the basket. It's you better bring it because they're not going to call ticky-tack fouls. And these defenders are good, and you're going to come up with something interesting to finish. That's why Kyrie was ridiculous. I thought in the first half, shot making unparalleled, and it's fun. We haven't quite dealt with Kyrie late in the playoffs in a while, and so it's fun to remind ourselves that that's what he is and what he can do.
Yeah, it's been a while, because he was injured with the Celtics, and then obviously the stuff with the Nets didn't go well, and now he's back. It must have been years already, right?
Yeah, well, he got hurt with the Nets that when they should have beaten the Bucks. They were up 2-0. But that was when did the Bucks win? 21?
Well, the Bucks, the year after the bubble, right?
After the Lakers, yeah. So it's been since then, and I mean, I don't think 22, 23. Yeah, we haven't seen him. So this is going to be a great series.
This is this is the most athletic team that Luka has ever had around him, right? Easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, he had KP and KP and Brunson together.
Brunson was, yeah. I mean,
But
Brunson doesn't make you more athletic, but he's a great player.
I mean, he's got the jitter and the whatever. So,
well, I know. I mean, you could say it's the same thing about Luka, right? He's probably an underrated athlete with his strength and deceleration, and
yeah. And he had a couple defensive plays tonight, man. He had one where they tried to Conley should have shot that. What I hate is that right-handed floater, but he probably should have shot that. But instead, he tried to lob it to Rudy, and Luka got up and knocked it away. Man, that was a beautiful play. And he had another one where he cut somebody off a couple different times and made him work. And it was he really is even though he's not laterally supremely quick, he is smart and he has a big body and he knows how to use it.
He knows how to use it. Man, what a fourth quarter from him, man. The way Kyrie started the game and then the way, Luka closed it out for him, man, like that was impressive.
Yeah.
Impressive performance, man.
Here's his numbers in the fourth quarter.
He got 15,
Luka
right?
Went 5 for 8, 2 for 3 from the 3, 3 for 4 from the line for 15 points in the fourth quarter, 3 rebounds, 1 assist, and 2 steals. I think that the one that he knocked away was a steal for him on that lob. So we have another super chill. Let's get to that before it gets a little too late. From best friend of the pod, best friend of the breakdown, Braun. Thank you so much, Braun. Coach, can you make Kyle Anderson a 40% three shooter? When I watch him shoot free throws or whatever, I just think that somebody did this to him. Okay. It wasn't like this isn't the natural thing that you come up with on your own and whatever is screwing around. Somebody did this to him and it makes me angry. It's like it's a basketball abuse. And of course, yes, you could unlock more fluidity and stuff like that. But you have to be someone who can get out of the box and use a lot of alternative methods and explore different ways, because if you're going to try like the way he got there, because some idiot was probably trying to force him to eliminate movement and get less, this or like all very, very traditional stuff. This is what it looks like when you have a guy like Kyle Anderson who probably processes things differently as well. And I'm trying to think, I interviewed him and I'm trying to remember like if he was, sometimes you might get a sense like his brain works differently, right? So you got to be able to approach that differently. So anyway, the point is that yes, I think I don't know if it's 40%, but I can make him, 33, 34, 35, and I can make it certainly much quicker and more fluid.
Yeah. I mean, when I look at a shooter, it's always what the basketball is doing. And the basketball's doing a lot of different things on the way up. It's not one fluid motion. So yeah, I think there's a way to break it down and make him into a good shooter.
Yeah. And by the way, we should give props to him. His first half was terrific. Out of nowhere. He hadn't really been doing anything,
he was due for that.
What's
he was due for that. He was due for that.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, yeah, because he's not the guy who's going to score like 25 points, but he's going to give you like 8 or 9 or 10. And then in the first half he went.
He had 11. I think he had 11 in the first half.
Yeah, 11 in the first half, 5 for 8. Hit a 3. Who knew? I mean, like those threes are so open, it's crazy. Like if they ever decide they want to get a little closer, then that's it. And by the way, the same thing with that we saw from McDaniel. Let's see, where is he? McDaniels, thank you. 5 or 6 in the first half for 19 points. Like, I don't think he's going to do that again, folks. Do you?
No, but I mean, like they need him to be. Well, I text you this like right after halftime. I'm like, if you'd have told me that the Wolves would get the production they did out of McDaniels and even to a certain extent Kyle Anderson, I wouldn't never guess they were only up by 3. Right.
Great point as well. And by the way, I was thinking about this in the middle of it. It's the unsung heroes are going to decide the series, because we know what Luka is going to do. We know what Kyrie is going to do. We know what Ant's going to do for the most part at Cat. So it's like, yeah, it's the McDanielses, it's the Kyle Andersons, it's the
PJ Washingtons.
Naz Reid.
Yeah, it's Naz Reid. It's those guys. I mean, Naz Reid, we kind of might want to put him in that we know what he's going to bring it, and I almost need someone who's like a Josh Green is going to do something.
Tim Hardaway Jr.
I guess in the second half, PJ Washington kind of started to do that a little bit.
Well, yeah, but I mean, like, and he finally hit that corner 3, but he had been missing a lot of threes in the first half. It was kind of similar to the game he had last game in their closeout. And he hit those 2 threes down the stretch. I think Reggie commented on the broadcast about that tonight. But yeah, he hit those 2 threes down the stretch in the fourth quarter last game that really, when he was completely silent for pretty much the whole game, And then he had a big clutch three down in the corner. That corner is his sweet spot, man. If they can, and I didn't, correct me if I'm wrong, I didn't see many corner threes tonight relative to what we've seen in the past. I know it's a different series.
No, you're right. They were not exploiting it. Well, again, part of the reason at least Dallas wasn't was because Minnesota does not help off corners as much as OKC did.
Yep.
Wait, am I doing that right? Yeah. And so that was interesting. And that's very striking. And also, I liked what Stan said about how PJ Washington was missing a lot of his threes, but they were all above the break and not corner threes. And that's key. And then, by the way, that's key because you decide where the players are going to be to start possession. And so that usually indicates like where they're going to be when the shot is going to come up. And so if you look at those above the break threes that PJ Washington was taking, I have a feeling there was somebody else in the corner next to him. So it's a question of Kidd having to shape that a little bit more and be like, no, PJ, interchange with that guy, and then we can find you there, so that one more pass or something like that will get you there. Otherwise, don't float to that wing and get those shots. I mean, or get in the gym tomorrow and shoot a whole bunch and figure out how to make them again.
Yeah, because he has a quick release. Even if his a teammate was above the break and he was down in the corner and they're close, that one extra pass, he's got a fairly enough quick release. Like he can get that up pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
One pass away.
We have another super chat here from Cliffside. Hey, Cliffside, it's good to see you again. Ant looked tired. Can he stay on Kyrie for 7 games? Because Kyrie wore him out. He was really defending and trying to defend. And by the way, Kyrie would then go back at him. It was really an intriguing matchup. And this might be the best I've seen Kyrie play on both sides. What do you guys think?
Oh, he was in the first half.
In the first half, especially, I did actually in the second half see Ant look tired, but he made some good defensive plays on Kyrie. I remember one in the corner. Like Ant, he could really defend, but Kyrie is just different, the most skillful player in the NBA.
Yeah, and I don't know if I associate like in shapedness, what's the word I'm looking for Kyrie, in the sense that like Ray Allen or even like who was it back in the day on the Pistons who would run through every screen over and over again.
Rip Hamilton. Yeah.
So I don't necessarily associate Kyrie like that, but the guy doesn't seem to get tired. Like he kept going. He had energy down the end, and although you did see a little bit of a crack, he went to the basket and got stuck and threw it away, and that looked a little bit like he just was working so hard and then ran out of permutations in his brain to like figure out a solution. But he doesn't get tired easily, and Ant shouldn't be. So I was a little bit surprised about that because they were thinking that maybe he was hurt, right? Ant was like hurt, but then all of a sudden he did turn on a little bit. So the only answer then would have to be that he was tired, and that's going to be a problem because that's going to be that nothing's going to change much the rest of the series for Ant.
Do you think that's the best idea? Do you think that's the best idea for him to guard Kyrie, even though he called him out? Saying he wanted to guard him, but probably not the best idea since you need him on both sides.
Give him a break. Don't let him guard him all the time, but let him, give him a break. Did you notice that Luka in the very beginning wasn't bringing the ball up either? He was deferring, and I think that was also an effort. Later on, he was doing it the whole time, but it did look interesting because he was just giving it up and letting someone else bring it up. And to me, that I thought, okay, that's because they're trying to save him a little bit.
I think you're always going to get a fresh Kyrie because Luka takes on such a heavy load. So, right. When Kyrie has it, he's going to be going right at you.
Absolutely. Oh, this is an interesting comment. Yeah, I would be considered a communist at this point, probably. You're right. Thank you, Joe Biden. Joe Biden in the chat, guys. All right. All right.
That guy also said that I have a cardboard cutout of Ant in my bedroom or something.
Who said that?
The same guy that just called you.
Yeah. Listen, the life size ones from I forgot that company. They're really cool. I should probably get one for my wall. But who do I get? I guess is the question.
I don't know.
Who should I get? Who should be the life size cutout from the? Gosh, what's that company called?
It's is it the one you put on your walls?
Yeah, it's like a thing and you mount it. And
Fathead.
Fathead. Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's I should go get a fat head of somebody. I don't know. Maybe I can get a fat head of like TJ McConnell or something. Like somebody who's somebody like a role player. All right, here we go. Another super chat. Andre Henry, thank you so much, Andre. Really, really appreciate it. What's the number one thing Minnesota needs to do to win the next game? Let's give it to you guys.
What's the number one thing Minnesota needs to do to win the next game? I think they need more from Anthony Edwards, even though, he showed some flashes. I think he just, you're playing against a duo like Kyrie and Ant. I mean, you need everything you could get from Ant Edwards. I know we just talked about the others, but he has to be the best player on the court for them to win, I think. And that's going to be tough, especially down the stretch.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they really spread their production out tonight. There wasn't like a huge difference between, their double-digit scores. You know what I mean? So I think that there's probably got to be a little variance to that. There's got to be, your Ant is kind of taking over. Cat is making some shots, So I think that, and they got to have good role production or from the role players as well. So, but then I think it goes back to what you had originally talked about. We don't need to beat a dead horse, but they got to figure out Luka the best that they possibly can. You know what I mean? You're not going to figure him out, but you got to prevent him from being able to take control of the ball in the lane like that, right there at the elbow, and then be able to make decisions out of that.
Yep.
I think it could get worse with Luka, actually, in terms of, I think he could drop even more than 33 points and have more quarters that look like the fourth quarter. The only, when you start trying too many things, though, it's things can get worse, especially with a player like Luka. So I don't know exactly what they would do. And I want to ask you guys, how do you feel about how Dallas guarded Ant?
Okay, I was going to get to that. Oh, first of all, real quick, PJ Washington made his 2 corner threes, but missed 1, 2, 3, 6 of the threes above the break. So that's indicative of a malfunctioning offense to some degree. But and then really quickly for the whole game, Anthony Edwards, 19 points on 6 of 16 shooting, 5 of 12 from 3, which actually is pretty good, and 11 rebounds, 8 assists. So an all-around nice game, but yeah, he needs to be more efficient to do that. And if he was a little bit more efficient, they win the game, right? They only needed about 5 more points to win that game. So that's where I guess 4 more points to win the game. But what was the last question you just asked, Combo?
Guarding Anthony Edwards. At times it seems like they were doubling less than Denver was throughout the course of that series. So how do you feel how did they go? What do you think before this series they were looking to do with Ant from watching this game?
Well, okay, defending Ant. Well, so they're looking to play him straight up. They were not doubling him at all. They're just letting PJ Washington guard him and hope for the best. And you know what? It worked. It worked out well enough because they knew that what you saw from the last series was a lot of rotations and a lot of chances to miss rotations and give up open shots. And they wanted to be able to stay home as much as they could. So I was intrigued. There was a moment in the beginning where I thought, oh boy, they're going to have to do something different here because he was really going to go off. But he got tired and couldn't sustain that. So, I would be worried. But just like you said, Luka could do more. I mean, there's no question Anthony Edwards can get 40 in a couple of these games and win them out by himself. So that's the question is, are those the 2 games that Minnesota's going to win? And then they're going to win in 6? I don't know.
Well, hey, let me ask you guys this. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think we saw Ant have many drives to the basket tonight. I know we saw the one where he tries to go up in traffic, and they ended up challenging it. Dallas did because it was out of bounds off Ant last. I know the Minnesota crowd really wanted a foul there, but you and I were texting about it as well. We thought it was an excellent no call. He's trying to drive up between 2 defenders that are legally contesting the shot. We don't see any arm or hand contact at all, and he tries to sell the foul, and as he's falling, he touches it out of bounds. Everybody wants the foul there, but it was a great no call in my opinion. I just don't. That was one of the ones. There was another one where I know he drove to the basket wanting a foul earlier in the first half, but I don't remember many drives to the basket for Ant.
Well, by the way, the proof is in the pudding in the box score because Anthony Edwards took 16 total shots. 12 of those were threes. So he only took 4 shots inside of the paint, inside of the 3-point line. And if you break down that shot chart on the NBA site, you see a couple at the basket, a couple elbow jumpers, and then that's it. So you're a great call on that one, Chip. He didn't really get in there. Now that's the other question. They're playing him straight up, and yet he didn't get to the basket every single time, like you would have thought that would have happened. I'll have to look at that and figure out exactly what was thwarting him.
Did PJ do that good of a job on him? I don't know if he was avoiding taking it to the rack, but I mean, those are the only 2 that stuck out to me, and that turns out is it's only 2 drives to the basket.
Yeah. Well,
I
let's
mean,
bring. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Dallas is more athletic than Denver is. So, but I'm sure if Ant's listening to this, he'll probably drive more next game.
Yeah. Well, you know what? We have Chris who's going to join us now for the last bit of the last half of the show. What's up, Chris?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hey,
All right,
Chris.
give us your thoughts, my man.
I was just looking at the numbers. It looks like to me anyways, the Timberwolves should have won the game. They hit 18 threes and only turned the ball over 10 times. I probably have to look it up, but hitting 18 threes and only turning the ball over 10 times, how many teams lose by doing both those things?
And then, wait, add this in: hitting 18 threes while the other team only hit 6.
Exactly.
Yep. I knew you were going to bring that up, Nick, because you always talk about that.
I'll want to look it up right now. So
that's a huge disparity.
That head up.
Yeah, that's like a huge disparity. But if you look at the points in the paint for the Mavericks, they had 62 compared to the Timberwolves 38. So that's where it balances out. But you would think the threes would outnumber the paint points. But when you have 62 paint points, like
it's a lot.
That's how they won. Yeah.
That's a great
wait,
point,
what was
man.
the net? 18-6. So 12 or more. Mm-hmm. I'm looking up when a team has 12 or more over the last 4 years, what the record
I would
is.
be surprised if you have one.
Right. Net 3-point field goals. Let me make sure it's playoffs or regular season. And is plus or is greater than or equal to 12. Are you ready? Here are the results. It might be more than we think.
Oh, man. Dang it.
Wow. It's
really?
Yeah. That's interesting. There's 198 of those games over the last 4 years.
No way.
Let me make sure I'm looking at this right. So this one 24, and the other opponent had 10, and then 27 and 9. Yeah. So wow. This is what happens when in the modern era. But now let me sort it by results so I can figure out how many
wins and losses. Yeah.
So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22. So 23 losses out of 198. So what is that? That would be so it's 175 into 198. Let me do that. 175 into 198 is 88%. That's actually a little bit lower than I might have thought it was going to be.
Yeah, me too.
But 88%, I would imagine statistically would tell you like almost a virtual certainty that you'd win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, by the way, throw in 10. Should I throw in the 10 or less turnovers?
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah, I want to see that too. 10 or less
That's
turnovers.
Interesting. And I can do that. Let's add another statistical filter. So where is turnovers? There it is. Turnovers less than or equal to 10. That's what we're saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Right, because some of these teams might be nailing threes, but they're throwing the ball all over the place.
How many threes did McDaniels hit?
Like 5. But he hit 5 in the first half, and that was it. And I said that to my wife on the couch. I'm like, he's not going to do that in the second half. I can guarantee you that. Yeah. 55 games teams have done that. And out of those 55, guess how many of them lost?
6.
Close, but
8.
Not quite. What?
8.
3.
Wow.
3 teams out of 55 games had turned the ball over 10 times or less, scored 12 or more threes, and lost. So you're right, Chris. That's a really big anomaly. But I just felt like, okay, at some point in that fourth quarter, Minnesota went really cold, right? They just missed, like they hit like a bunch of threes in a row they missed, I felt like. And that sort of is what kind of, I felt like let Dallas kind of get back in control of that game.
Yeah, they had like a 6-point cushion or something around there, right? In the beginning of the fourth. And then Luka went on his little run.
I'm trying to find, they don't have the thing up. Let me refresh. I'm looking for the game thing. No, they don't. Oh, here it is. So you're saying, there was a 5-point lead early in the fourth for Minnesota. Yeah. And then, Dallas went on a run right in the middle of the quarter.
Luka went on a run. Luka went on a run.
Yeah, I know he scored 7 straight.
Yeah.
Maybe, are you sure it was only 7?
Well, Luka. When they went to timeout and then they probably scored more.
I thought maybe it was a lot more, but yeah, he was nuts right when they needed to. And that was that. I'm looking right now. I can probably share this if I don't need to, but you can see the lead tracker. But then, Minnesota was able to get it back and they lost it. So I just feel like if it's going to be close down the stretch in these games, you got to pick Dallas. They have the 2 best game controllers on the floor.
That's true, but what happened in the end of that OKC game in Game 6? Like, Luka got locked up and he made a horrible decision and got bailed out with a double pump 3-pointer by PJ Washington.
What's going on with his knee? Like, why is he bleeding every game?
That's a good question.
That can't be healthy. Like bleeding every game.
He's got
every game, Coach Dick.
But my wife, who's a doctor, is like, that's not how injections work. Like they don't bleed after you get an injection. So she does make a point. I don't understand that, and he did fall on it. So maybe he has a scab. I don't know.
Yeah, you'd think in the NBA they'd have guys good enough to like stop bleeding and not allow you to bleed every game.
Maybe someone's wearing a brace
on here.
And also, I'm just saying, like I've had my knee stuff. I wouldn't let them numb my knee before I play. You could kill yourself.
I mean,
seriously hurt yourself.
Right. I don't know if it's numbing or if it's just like anti-inflammatory or whatever to try and keep the pain down.
Okay.
But,
that makes sense.
But fair enough. I might have said numbing in our text, but I meant what to keep the pain down. But who knows? All right, we have another super chat. I almost missed it. Sorry, buzzer beater. Forgive me. But it says ill stream. I think ill stream is good, right?
Yeah.
Is that a compliment?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Because this is a stream. We're on a stream, right? And it's ill.
Yeah.
So, like, these people should say, ill was good. License to ill.
Yep.
All right. Chip, were you in a 90s boy band?
I was not, but I am a freaking rock star at karaoke, bro. Everything, every genre you can possibly imagine. I'm a 90s hip hop guy, so I will rap all the words without even looking at the screen or the lyrics.
Who's your favorite 90s hip hop artist?
Oh man, dude, to do karaoke for or like
both. Give me your best karaoke.
Yeah, I'm an Eminem fan for hip hop, right? But then like Naughty by Nature is my go-to for like they're one of my first couple go-tos for karaoke. Oh, dude, I know every word to it.
Nature. Wow.
Yeah, dude, Naughty by Nature. That's pretty cool, man.
Where are you from, Chip? Where do you reside?
I'm from Georgia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like a little south of Atlanta, about like an hour south of Atlanta.
That's no future, little baby. Nah?
You know what's funny is that when McDaniel starts going off like that, I want to be able to tweet with the thing, and then I want to say, "It's McDaniel's, not McDonald's," but nobody understands what that reference is.
Is that like an old commercial?
No, it's Run DMC.
Run DMC.
It's McDaniel's, not McDonald's. The rhymes are burgers, but the rhymes are. It's McDaniel's, not McDonald's. The rhymes are Daryl's, but the burgers are Ronald's. You don't know that? Anyway, that's how far back I go. So I could do all those rap songs without.
Oh, heck yeah, man. I think we need to have a karaoke session one night on here.
Yeah. By the way, I am also a great renowned karaoke person myself. So yes, we should definitely do a b-ball breakdown.
Nice to meet you.
Karaoke night. Yes. Combo, you don't strike me as a karaoke kind of guy.
You know what's crazy? I never did karaoke in my life.
Dude, you got to try it. It's a rush. It's not crazy. Yeah. It does not surprise me one bit.
Why doesn't it surprise? What about me is like not karaoke? Tell me.
You don't have any like cult. You don't like watch movies. I don't know. It just feels like that's.
and you don't play defense. So I mean,
you got to
get to sing karaoke.
You want to do karaoke. By the way, that reminds me because it's like, defense and karaoke must be a connection. But whenever I'm coaching good defenders, I always ask if they're good at math, and almost always they say yes. And I'm telling you, there's a connection to that as well.
Everybody thinks they're good at math, though.
Do they?
I was good at math, and I was the best defender in the state, in my opinion.
Yeah. Well, it's angles and spacing and spatial awareness.
Best defender in the state.
And I couldn't shoot worth a.
You were the best. You were the best defender in the state of Georgia.
Literally locked down, bro. Locked down. And here's the thing: my high school coach, told me if you shoot the ball, I'm taking you out of the game, and he did. I shot 4 threes my senior season. I made 3 of them, and he took me out after every one of them.
Are you like the guy that like picks you up full court and pick up?
Oh, dude, I would just hound people, man. I was the McDonald's. I was the all kinds of those type defenders where it's just in your face, hound you all the way up the court. That was me.
Wow. All right, another super chat. Cliffside, thank you so much, Cliffside. Again, multiples. What adjustment can Dallas make for the Luka blitz? So good question. We saw the one good one where Rudy went up there and they forced a turnover. I mean, Luka's really good at hitting the short roll, which is really the solution, right? You just got to make sure you have the right person short rolling. And we've seen in this playoffs, Gafford have trouble with it. Lively have a little trouble with it. And my take on it was let Kyrie set the screen and invite that double. But the response to that was, well, they're not going to double him when Kyrie sets that screen. And then I'm like, right. That's probably what they would want. Luka certainly didn't want to deal with the double toward the end either. He looked tired. So any other ideas for you guys?
Luka could play off ball more.
Yeah. Post up.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah, definitely.
Run him off some actions where he's not.
You know what?
Always bringing up the ball.
Chris, that's exactly what I was thinking about when he was like struggling with Lou Dort a little bit. Because like if I'm playing against a player like Lou Dort, I'm trying to find ways to move off the ball and not just attack him when he's at his strongest, just looking at you. You know, even though Luka is a great ISO player.
Yeah,
you have to make the game easier for yourself. But when I watch Luka play, I feel like he makes the game harder for himself.
But that makes it look easy at the same time.
It's crazy.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, in these games, not as much. I feel like there's some regular season games where he's just effing around, right? He doesn't even care. I mean, he doesn't care. But okay, that tip dunk was it Lively? The one I was talking to you about, Chip. He shot the ball way too hard off the glass, and it went right to Lively for a dunk. I got it, and I tweeted it out. Part of me feels like that was on purpose, like a pass to him. Is that crazy? That's probably crazy.
It's not crazy it's not crazy to think that because that's something I could completely see him doing. I think he was shooting in that situation though.
Yeah.
So I would be, and let's just say it this way: if I was recording stats for that game, I would have input that as a missed field goal attempt and put back dunk.
Because if he threw it off the backboard like straight away, it probably wouldn't have been able to go to him and get it back in. He needed to hit the backboard rim so that it kind of went up a little bit so he could dunk it. So to me, I'm like, and the way he shot it was a little bit weird. Like it was obviously too hard.
Yeah, that angle was like it was never going to go in.
Yeah, so I'm telling you, man, like someone needs to ask him that.
There's a chance.
I hope they do, but no one probably saw that. Maybe they saw the tweet in Alaska. But anyway, but yeah, that's the adjustment, and also more post ups. I think for sure they could definitely get some mileage out of that. I can't picture him posting up tonight. I mean, did he do it at all?
Not in the fourth.
No, so I don't think so.
I remember him missing one on the right wing.
We can't hear you.
Missing one on the right wing. I remember he posted up. Yeah,
post up. Okay,
second half.
Right.
Yeah.
Do it more. He needs to do that about 6-7 times a game, I think. All right, we have Andre Henry. Thank you so much, Andre. Back again for another super chat. Did the doubles work on Luka in the first half? So I think that they were getting short rolls, and I feel like we were seeing some good stuff out of Lively. Although he traveled on one, but that was at the end, right?
Yeah, that was at the end.
Yeah, and that was a tough pass. By the way, that's the other thing is when you blast him, it's harder to make that pass, right? So he had to kind of reach and get over, and then it was a little bit off target. He had to reach back to get it. And I think Reggie said if he just went up with it, he wouldn't have traveled. But he was backwards to the basket, like he would have had to do a ballet move in the air.
He was really deep in the paint. He was almost in the charge circle, I think, when he caught it. He was completely off balance.
Yeah, so they got to work on that. But I would think that. So did they work? I mean, I guess I'm picturing. I want to say no, they didn't work. I mean, I guess if we wanted to do the points per possession, I need to chart that out. But in the first half, let's look at what Luka's numbers were, just out of curiosity, because we would know from the assists and stuff like that. I mean, he had 5 assists and he was 6 for 14 with a negative 12. By the way, I mean he played 19 minutes, by the way, Kyrie Irving in the first half was 11 for 14 for 24 points in the first half.
He was nuts, man.
Yeah. And he only took 1 3 that he missed. So it was all mid-range, all around the basket. Crazy.
I think they hit all their free throws in the first half too, I believe. I think they had hit all their free throws till somewhere mid-third quarter, maybe.
Or maybe the fourth, yeah. Yeah, because I remember Luka was at the line, and I think they said he was 11.
Yeah, he missed that front. He already missed that first one, and that was the first one of the game that they missed.
Yeah, and then they finished 16 for 17, which is big. By the way, 16 free throws, and Minnesota only made 11. So there's a little bit of that cleaving off of that advantage from the 3-point line.
Mhm.
But they shot around the same amount of free throws, I believe, if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
18 for Minnesota and 17 for the Mavericks. And the refereeing, I think overall, Chip, like we were talking about, I thought was pretty solid.
Yeah, man, it really was. My first half analysis was very consistent, very good judgment. There was only every single time they blew the whistle in the first half, and I went back to look at the calls. Every single time they blew the whistle in the first half, I agreed with their call. I thought it was the correct call. There was only three no call decisions in the first half that I thought were could have gone either way. I thought Cat may have gotten fouled by Lively on one of those driving shot attempts, but he had just traveled. He had just got away with a split and go travel 3 seconds before that. So that was one of the incorrect no call on the travel that should have been called on Cat. I think he possibly got fouled by Lively having an arm bar as he's going up to shoot. And then I thought there was another one in the second quarter. If you guys remember this one, it was a free throw attempt that was missed. And Rudy hooked Gafford's arm and kind of pulled him out, and that cleared space for Ant to go in and get the rebound. Kind of pulled him out of the lane or up the lane. So, but those were the only three no calls in the first half that I even took exception with. I think the only one we really need to talk about that we haven't talked about in the fourth quarter or in the second half was the fourth quarter play where Cat kind of drives down. He's about 15 feet out. PJ Washington starts coming towards him, but stops. He leans in and bumps PJ and displaces him, and then hits the fall-away jump or the fadeaway jumper. In my opinion, on that play, I would have liked to seen an offensive foul called on Cat, and the reason is this: PJ was not still moving into Cat when Cat leaned outside of his frame to initiate that contact, and that contact obviously cleared PJ out of the play. In my opinion, I know it wasn't called, but in my opinion, it cleared him out of the play when he was a legal defender and cleared enough space for Cat to get that fadeaway off. So I think that created enough of an advantage where that needed to be called an offensive foul on Cat. I know they wouldn't have liked it. The home crowd would not have liked it, but that's that. I think most people watching it that are, not fans of either team and just neutral fans, I think they would have probably supported an offensive foul call there too.
Yeah, and I was looking back. I mean, I used to play. One of my best friends in high school, who was a really good scorer, would do that, where he kind of do a shot fake, smack you with his shoulder, and then fade away, and then call the foul, like when we were playing like pickup games. Like, that's like you want to start a fight, right? You can't.
You're like, get out of here, bro. Get out of here.
Yeah, and I was a great defender, and I would have perfect verticality on that because I knew he was going to do it, right? And he would just lean into me, and I was stronger than him, and he would just bounce off of me, but he'd try and call a foul. So I didn't like that one either. I mean, that felt a little bit overt to me, but he got it, and and I think he hit the shot. It was an and one, right?
Yeah, he did hit the shot. And keep in mind, folks, like when we talk about that particular play, if you're remembering the one we're talking about, that's different than a situation where if he would have done a pump and shoot, got PJ to jump and leave his feet and jump toward him. If PJ was moving or jumping toward him when contact occurred in that situation, PJ would be responsible for it. But since PJ stopped short of contact and then Cat goes into him overtly, in my opinion, that could have been called an offensive foul. But overall, the officials were not the story in this game, in my opinion. And I think the calls that got overturned by challenges were two of the only calls that were, and those were tough out of bounds plays for them to see. You know what I mean? Which is another thing. I didn't like the fact that Dallas used that second challenge on another out of bounds play. Did you?
Yeah. No, I didn't, either of those made little sense to me that early, and then when they didn't involve points. Well, I think we're going to evolve this, right? And we're going to figure out that it's really just worth it to keep them for the end. I mean, they probably. I mean, thank God nothing happened, but you can imagine, down the stretch, very tight game, and there's a bad call. They got to overturn, and they can't. It's going to kill you.
Well, I could even support them using the first one on an out of bounds play because you're going to challenge it because you know for a fact you're going to win. You've already seen on video. You're sitting behind the bench. You've seen on video it went off them last. I can support them because there's possession consequence there. You're going to get the ball back. It's the third quarter, but you're going to get it back. But the second one, you're not guaranteed that there's possession consequence involved because it was a jump ball because they could not make a decision on who it went off of last. Yeah. So you're going to be any two players are going to be able to jump for that. Why do you use your second challenge on that where you could just get the jump ball? potentially. So
makes no sense. Well, let's get to we have another super chat here from Andre. Thank you so much again, Andre. Really, really appreciate it. 62 points with Gobert in there. 62 paint points with Gobert. How does that happen? And I gotta tell you, there are several instances in my head I can picture where they didn't shoot it because Gobert was hovering like he does, right? He eliminates shots in the paint a lot of the time. But first of all, I have to imagine that a number of those points were not when Gobert was in. We'll have to parse those out and check by hand. But I'm willing to say that a bunch of those weren't, and that's like Reed and that's Cat. It's also
Eric Lively,
and Lively finishing, and Kyrie finishing, right? There's got to be a lot of those paint points. Actually, I wonder if Luka, because Luka was shooting on the very edge of the paint, and I wonder if his 14.5-foot shot is a paint point. What do you guys think?
Yeah, that's a good point. They could be counting those as point shots or paint shots.
I'm trying to think of how can I. Let's see. I could tell you right now. What would we want to know? Who had the most paint points for the Mavericks?
Yeah, take a look at that.
Let me see if I can. Well, I can do a shot.
It's gonna be.
Let me see.
I don't know because Luka's got volume. So like,
I mean, if I select Luka here, I could just look real quick. Luka. Yeah. Made single shot. So he in the paint, according to this, he made 1, 2, 3, 4. He had 10 points, 10 of the 62. And let's look at Kyrie. Kyrie had here it is. Oh, geez. Kyrie had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Pretty much you can say 15. One of them was just on the block, like an inch out of the lane. If you might want to call it 30 of his points, 30 of his points, or 15 of his shots were in the paint. So there you go.
So
yeah, Kyrie's, yeah. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
He only scored 30 points.
That's interesting. Well, let me share this and show you. You can see it for yourself.
He only scored 30 points overall, and I'm trying to remember if all of his points that he made were from the.
Yeah, Kyrie was eating in the paint.
Can you see this?
Yeah.
So this is what I was counting. But these are made single shot, right? Oh, is it only? Oh, hang on. Oh, I'm sorry. God damn it! It included Luka and.
Oh, Luka and
my fault. I didn't realize it added that when you did that. So 1, 2, 3. That didn't sound right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. Can we count this guy though? This little guy over here?
No.
No.
All right, 9. No. So he had 18. Luka had 10. So that's 20. It's about half of the points.
I'm going with Lively. Gafford probably. Well,
let's see here. Lively 3. It probably is by committee at that point. Let's see here.
Yeah.
Gafford had more. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like. Okay, so that. No, he didn't. Sorry. God damn it all.
Yeah, that's right.
Gafford had 1, 2, 3, 4.
Yeah, looks like it.
Okay.
Jones Jr. probably on a couple of dunks, maybe.
1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah. So it's by committee, like, everyone else that's scattered around. But yeah, I mean, I didn't think, by the way, so we can get back to the Rudy thing. I mean, I think he ended up being maybe a net neutral because he actually did a couple things offensively that were nice. And then he had a couple of things that were terrible. He had a short roll and a spin move that was, I don't even know what it was. I had to share it just because it's sometimes fun to, I guess, I don't know, show and speak in French. But it was he can't do that. He's got to stop. He shouldn't be doing that I think it was the fourth quarter, right, of this game. That's not the time to be, finding yourself in the paint with a nice post move or something. Mm-hmm. So that was frustrating too. And so, but yeah, Rudy. I think overall they're gonna. How many minutes did he play total? That's an interesting question.
He played 38,
30, almost 38, 37, 36. So, yeah, I think they might have to shave a few more points. And how many did Naz Reid play? 24. Yeah,
but his defense wasn't great, and they had to put Gobert right back in after like a pretty bad possession.
But was it Naz Reid's fault? That was okay? So I was thinking they brought Rudy back in, right? And that must have been Naz who came out, right? Mm-hmm. But I thought Naz was kind of playing well at that point. I mean, he was giving him a nice boost on offense. Mm-hmm. So that's the problem. And then remember they had that cold spell where they were having trouble scoring at all. And Rudy doesn't help you with that. So that's an interesting balance. They're going to have to figure it out. I would have probably given Nas a couple more possessions at least, and not reacted that way. So I'm going to look at that again. It'll be interesting to watch how they fared once Rudy came back in. But I'm assuming the Timberwolves had a 2-point lead at that point, right? It had evaporated whatever lead they had. Mm-hmm. And I think, if you look at the last 5 minutes, 6 minutes, it's going to be the Mavericks having an advantage, obviously by 7 or 8 points because they were down when that Rudy checks in. So anyway, should we give some, what do we think about the series? Who's going to win the series?
T-Wolves in 7.
T-Wolves in 7. Anybody else want to agree with that?
Yeah.
I don't think Dallas is going to lose. I don't think Minnesota can win the series.
Yeah. Man.
You don't think they can win this series?
I don't think they will.
I mean, either team can.
Yes, they can. I don't think they will. I bet you if you look at the record of the team that wins the first game on the road in a 7-game series, it's probably better than 50%.
I mean, Dallas has got a very, very, very strong chance to win this for sure. I mean, I don't know. I think I'm going to go Wolves in 7.
I guarantee it.
Here's the guarantee.
Wow. All right. I think.
What do you think? What do you think, Chris? You got Wolves at 7, right?
I think it could either be.
He's going Dallas in 6. He's going Dallas in 6.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dallas in 6 or Wolves in 7, but right now I'm leaning towards Dallas in 6.
Here's a random thing I was looking from NBA.
And then if Dallas wins another one, you're going to change it again?
No.
We got to stick with it now. We've already made our predictions. We got to stick with it. I love Dallas's game though, and I think there's a very strong possibility they win this series, and maybe even likely. But yeah, I'm just looking forward to a good series.
Teams that win the first game. When was this done? This was a while ago now. Damn it, this was like 5 years ago. But I saw this on the NBA site. Teams that win the first game of a best-of-7 series on the road go on to win the series 52.6% of the time.
Just over 50%. Don't
right. I said, so already Dallas is slightly favored on that end, right? If they win the first 2 games on the road,
we've seen them do that though, but and lose. But I don't know if you count in the bubble.
Bubble? I don't know. Yeah, you're right. What does that count? But the teams that win the first 2 games on the road win 84% of the time, which is what Minnesota just proved when they did that against Denver. So I don't know. I think I would have to pick Dallas to win it. I don't know. I'm just saying they're winning in 6.
Yeah,
so there you go. Where's my mic?
All right, so we got 2 Dallas in 6, and we got 2 Wolves in 7.
Wait, who has Dallas in 6?
Chris got like 4 predictions, so who knows?
Wait, so Chris, are you Dallas in 6?
I'm right now. I'm leaning towards Dallas in 6.
Right, you got to give it. Listen,
he got Wolves. He got Wolves in 7 too.
Oh, he did.
He got everything. Whatever.
He said it's either that one or that one. So we just gotta make our predictions now. I could say the same thing, Chris.
Chris is smart. You know what? Chris pulls up receipts like me, so he's just gonna give every option and then pull up the receipt, screenshot it, and post it.
Yeah, right.
Whenever
and then we can always AI it if we have to, so it's not a problem.
Exactly.
Do you see how good? Do you see how good the AI conversation?
I got fooled. The one, what was the Anthony Edwards one? Yeah,
I see. Kyrie had a Kyrie, he was like leaning down a little bit. It looked real.
Oh, that one too. I saw. I'm like, I had to watch it twice. I'm like, oh, this isn't right. Well, when they're how well trained all the NBA players are on the mic. So when they're saying wild stuff, then it has to be AI, right? Like,
when somebody says something wild, we're going to be like, oh, that's just AI. But maybe they said something really
wild. How many people thought the Cat Anthony Edwards post game interview was AI the first time they heard it?
Oh, somebody sent me that one.
That was pure comedy, dude. They were pure comedy.
Yeah. No, it's scary. It really is scary.
So
why didn't people I had laryngitis. I used AI in one of my videos and everyone freaked out and hated it. I don't know why. I mean, it sounded just like me, it's really cool. But it's also frightening. Right. Also, when you get the mouths moving a little bit, they can do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know. Were the mouths moving properly? I don't think so, right? They just made the audio.
Nah, they can make it move properly.
I didn't look at it closely enough, but I kind of feel like the Mavs weren't quite in sync with whatever.
Well, it's only going to get better. So.
Oh
Right.
yeah.
So anyway, all right. Well, listen, awesome show tonight, everybody. Thank you all for being out there. Oh, hang on. There's one more super chat. My goodness, stuck it in here. TXFU. Coach Nick, please bring back the old music. Well, I will when they don't blow the game and choke and whatever. And it's not epic. That ain't epic beat drop music. You know what I mean? But don't worry, it'll come back. But also, if you're out there, a bunch of you out there, please watch the video from today. I don't know what happened, but nobody watched it, and I dropped it before the game today. I don't know what happened, but please go watch it. It's really good. And
I watched it.
Oh, thank you, Chip. Yes, you watched it.
Welcome.
I don't know. The other people in this chat probably didn't watch it, right? So you guys go watch it. I need 2 views from you guys.
Are these bots in the chat? Or are these real people that are saying?
Yeah,
this
they're
stuff?
real people. William is definitely a real person. And who else? I know
William.
What shouts to William and Joe Biden in the chat.
Yeah, right. Joe Biden is definitely real. Wait a minute. I think there's another super chat. All right, we got another one. Thank you so much, Module Cell. Really, really generous of you. Really appreciate it. It's all about love and hate, I'll tell you. And the biggest hater. I hate the way Luka walks. I hate the way Luka talks. I hate the way Luka complains. I don't think did he complain too much today? He had his glaring. He was glaring a lot, right?
I wouldn't even say a lot. I mean, relative to the way he normally does.
Yeah, he's been pretty good the past 3 games.
Yeah, somebody, and I, you know what? I really wish I had finished that video because I had a good, the whole thing about the vibes. The vibes are bad when he does it, and everyone else suffers from that. So, maybe
even raised his finger a couple of times to say, "Put the foul on me" in the first half.
Yeah, that's great. I mean, listen, I wish we could teach that and make everybody do that.
I mean, that's an overseas thing. They love doing that.
Yeah, right.
And I think some of it's sarcastic. I think the second one was sarcastic.
Right. Well, hey,
but still, hey, it's better than him complaining. So that's
and it didn't used to be always an overseas thing. That used to be the thing that we did here, and then they went overseas and never came back. So, anyway, well, thank you so much, everybody, for being out here. I know it's late for you guys. It's gotta get to sleep. Chris got that yawn, man. Keep awake. Combo has been sleeping for the last couple minutes, so let's get him to bed. We'll tuck him in. And anyway, thank you guys all for being out there. Great show. I'm back here again tomorrow. I'm the only West Coast guy here, so I'm up and at 'em. Hopefully, you guys are around and you'll jump back in and we'll do it again.
Heck yeah, playing around.
Well, don't forget.
Sounds good.
Don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown. We're not a channel. We're a conversation. You win,